That is taking some time away, right? So what we'll do is that we will keep our questioning procedure same, but the computational part we will delegate it to ChatGPT or GenAI so that we can work together side by side. So essentially what you're doing is nothing but you're doing multiple calculations to get a conjecture. It's like you have multiple data to see a pattern in the problem and the solution. That is what they call conjecture. And then you try to prove it. Now, this conjecture generation process, this pattern, you will delegate it to ChatGPT and other Gen AI so that you will learn, so that the computational part you can skip.
Hello, guys. Welcome to Cheenta School of Statistics and Data Science. We are a team of extremely passionate teachers, researchers, and statisticians from the top universities of India and US.
There are n real numbers: x1, x2, x3, dot xn. These are real numbers. And we are defining a set A, which is nothing but a tuple of numbers, a tuple of functions: f1t, f2t, dot fnt, where t is a real number, of course. Now we are defining these functions: fkt. This function is defined as k is between 1 and n. This defined as fkt is defined as 1 if xk is less than equal to, or t is greater than equal to xi, I would say xa is fixed and 0 otherwise. So the question is asking that the a is a set of all such functions, right? All such tuples. So the question is that what is the size of a? Is it, how many elements are there? Is there options like n, n plus 1, 2 to the power n, and infinitely many? Okay, but essentially it's asking what are the numbers, right? Can we find the number? So let me repeat the problem once again. So x1, x2, x3, dot xn, this n real numbers out there, they're fixed real numbers, distinct. Now in this in this discussion, you will learn also how to think about a problem step by step. That's why we will take 45 minutes or probably more, like a lot of time to understand each of them in details so that we can understand how to solve problems step by step. Now these are given. So these are the information. So we have certain information. We have certain that are already given. Without knowing the information, we will never be able to solve the problem. So information number one, that these are distinct real numbers. Information number two, that a set is defined. What is a set? The set is nothing but a function f1t dot f2t dot fnt, a tuple of functions where t is a real number. That's how it's defined. Where fkt is equal to 1 if t is greater than equal to xk, that is fixed number, and 0 otherwise. Now what is the size of a? The output of all these functions is nothing but it will be either 1 or 0 combination, right? It's a set of all outputs, right? Now f1 fi's can take either 1 or 0, right? That means the set a can be maximum, like the maximum value of a is less than equal to 2 to the power n. Why? Because f1 fi can take either 1 or 0. Am I making sense, guys? So the output, the tuple output of all the possible outputs of the function, t is infinite, but the output is 0 or 1, right? It can be either 0 or 1 for whatever t it is. It can be either 0 or 1. It can be either 0. The n possibilities, n positions, two options. So 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. So total 2 to the power n options of outputs. So therefore, the a can be all this combination, in tuple combination of 0 and 1s. That's the maximum possibility of a, right? So the maximum size of a is 2 to the power n, but is it 2 to the power n? That's the question. Of course, it's not infinite, it's 2 to the power n. So is it 2 to the power n or not? So that's what you have to check, right? Now, how to approach this problem. So if this is true, any other ideas in your mind, guys? Okay. So since there is no other ideas in your mind, so let's understand whenever there is a hard problem out there. So what we did, understand this very carefully. So we look into the information of the problem. And next, what we did is the following. We try to understand, like by example, why it's kind of an abstraction, but try to understand what can be the possibilities of a. So it's like understanding the problem a bit more, understanding the information a bit more. Okay, understanding the information a bit more. I mean, what do I mean is that, like, what is the important thing about a? The size of a. So that's what we wanted to understand. What is the important thing about the size of a? Why is it so important? And why are the options coming up? That's why you see the options are guiding you, the 2 to the power n and where they're coming, and that will give you 0 1 0 1 like n. So that can help you understand. So These are the first two steps. Usually one is enough, but in certain cases, like where they are more abstract, more algebraic expressions, there you need to understand the problem and information a bit more. Okay. Now, once you understood this, you have to go to solve the problem. Now, what to do when you want to solve the problem? Now, if this is abstract, you have to take examples and see. Say, in other words, make the problem simplified. Simplify the problem. Now, let's try to simplify the problem. Now, by simplification, we mean that simplification will only be done in terms of parameters, right? So say by simplification, let's assume this. So let's say x1 is equal to 1, x2 is equal to 2. Just let's take this. And so f1t becomes 1 if t is greater than equal to 1 and 0 otherwise, and f2t becomes 1 if t is greater than equal to 2 and 0 otherwise. But understand that taking examples will never solve the problem. It can give you ideas to solve the actual problem. This is where people get confused. This is to create what they call conjectures, ideas to solve problems, solve the actual problem. Okay, so now we have got x1, x2. So we have taken n is equal to 2. We have even specified it. So now the question asks that what is the size of this? So this is a simplified problem. So now let's see how we can solve this problem. It's fun. Okay. And now let's see. So now the next natural step is that let's try to understand, like, since you know this will be 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1 that you already understood. So this step is we discovered the 2 to the power n fact. Okay. Now we simplified it. Now do you know this will be 0, 1, 1, 0, and you know there are four places, at most four, right? 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, and 0, 0 opportunities, right? Output. Now the next natural question is that are all possible? The question is that are all possible? Understand how I'm questioning everything and then getting to the solution. That because I do not want to always give you solution and give you steps and you will be able to solve it. You will never get hints. What I want you to help yourself in is that you learn that how I am thinking about the problem step by step so that you can do the same process and solve every problem of your life in mathematics or mathematics or whatever statistics problem. So the next essential question is that are all of this plausible? Are all of this important? Will all of this occur? We can only understand if we can see the problem, to see the functions, right? Because in A, because A is defined in terms of f1 and f2. So now let's see. So therefore the question boils down to when will 0 occur or when will 1 occur? That depends on this 1 and 2. So this demands you to kind of look into the functions together. So let's draw it because it's easier to draw these functions. That helps you. So now let's say this is 1, this is 2. It's saying the function 1, let me draw it in blue and the other one in purple. Function 1 is saying that it's 1 if at is greater than equal to 1 and 0 otherwise. So that means it's like this. So this is function 1. And let's draw function 2. It's saying that 0 like this. So now together it's happening. So now this will become more interesting. You will understand the problem better. Now see, it's saying that now take t here. In this place, you see both the values f1t and f2t are 0. So it's 0, 0. In this place, you see that let's call it f1, f2. Purple, that is, it's 0. The second one is 0. The first one is 1. In this case, it's 1, 1. So now we know that this A is this. It cannot be something. It doesn't. Now the next natural question is that why 0, 1 didn't happen? Now you understood, okay, this makes sense that less than that will occur, but why it didn't happen? It didn't happen because let's say at some point it's 0, 1. That means it will be 0 here and 1 here. That means somewhere before it has already occurred, the first function. Okay, it's like this, but this color will change. In other words, if x1 was 2 and x2 was 1, then it would have happened. Otherwise not. So it's depends like what are the values of the xi's. Okay, so depends upon 1 and 2, their relative inequality, like where 1 is lying and where 2 is lying. So also if x1 was 2 and x2 was 1, then it would have been 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1 and 1, 1. Do you understand that? This would have been replaced by 0, 1. If x2 and x1 values were interchanged. Did you understand this, all of you? Or do you want me to draw it for you? So therefore, you see that two things you have learned from your understanding. Number one is x1, x2, xn relative value matters. And we have to draw the exercise to get an insight. Now you can say that, okay, so we cannot do this type of long analysis in exam. Of course you cannot do it. That's why you have to do it from earlier on. You cannot do these things in exam, right? But you have to start doing earlier on so that you can do all the steps in your mind very quickly. And this is practice. So anyways, so coming back, and where we will use ChatGPT or other Gen AI is, see, all these computations that we are doing here, that is taking some time away, right? So what we'll do is that we will keep our questioning procedure same, but the computational part we will delegate it to ChatGPT or Gen AI so that we can work together side by side. So essentially what you're doing is nothing but you're doing multiple calculations to get a conjecture. It's like you have multiple data to see a pattern in the problem and the solution. That is what they call conjecture. And then you try to prove it. Now this conjecture generation process, this pattern, you will delegate it to ChatGPT and other Gen AI so that you learn, so that the computational part you can skip. Skipping is not a good idea because someday you have to do it. What will there will no Gen AI do in your examination hall, right? But at least you will get the ideas in your mind. So I suggest that first do the problem by hand. If you cannot do it, then use Gen AI. Okay. But understand the problem solving strategies will remain the same. Just that you're distributing the workload among yourself and Gen AI. That's it.
If you're enjoying the video, show some love by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. We welcome you again to this passionate community of budding statisticians and data scientists. Let's enjoy the rest of the video. Stay tuned and stay blessed.